Hello, good evening, and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you in association with the Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, and MPS, Meridian Port Services. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, GPHA. Tonight we are streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are streaming live at Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are streaming live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are streaming live at Iron Port Ghana. Our media partner on this journey of a lifetime is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show tonight. We're going to be getting interactive with you, and so all you have to do is send us your messages and comments ahead via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0559 019 177, 0559 019 177. At appropriate time on our PEC signals from our production team, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We're going for a very quick break. When we bounce back, we'll continue with the show. Please do stay with us.
Every now and again, Goyle makes good things happen. This time, Goyle has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goyle Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goyle has that sorted. Goyle, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Tell God, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance
for the projects, and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
Mps Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
All right, so you're welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. And on Thursday, the Minister for Transport, the Honorable Kwaku Tema, paid a working visit to the ELMINA fishing port. And indeed, he was told the project is 89% complete and would be ready by January or the first quarter, so to speak, of the year 2023. That's next year. All right, so GPHA also awarded some hardworking staff spanning 2018 through to 2019 and then 2020. We'll have that story for you as well. Plus, the fact that Ghana stakeholders in the export sector met recently to strategize on the way forward for Ghana's exports and targets to meet in 2029 as far as earnings from non-traditional exports are concerned. Let's take a look at these stories and more.
The ELMINA Fishing Port project is 89% complete, with construction expected to be rounded up in December this year. Speaking to the media following an inspection of the project, the Minister for Transport, Kwaku has revealed that the €105 million project is expected to be commissioned by the first quarter of 2023. The Fishing Port project, financed by the Belgian government, when completed, will have a main fishing harbour, administrative buildings, a shed for the fish market, a shed for fishing net mending, 2 cold stores and ice factories, a new slipway for bigger vessels with a boat refurbishment area, a toilet block, a fuel station, a daycare center and access roads. The minister reiterated the president and government's commitment to develop Ghana's fishing sector, culminating in the development of the 12 fishing ports and fish landing sites across the coastal regions of the country.
Look at the condition with which our ladies, our mummies and our sisters are working. Very appalling. And the president has set himself out the look. I need to provide a very decent working place for our people. So we are upgrading this place into a fishing harbour. Right. We have a secondary fishing harbour. We have a Tema fishing harbour. Yeah. There are 2 fishing harbours we are building in addition. Right. Here and Jamestown. Right. In Accra. Right. And this place is going to be handed over. They will finish this fishing harbour latest by the first quarter of next year. Right.
Kwaku urged the direct beneficiaries of the fishing port facility to maintain an appropriate maintenance culture when it is handed over for use.
They should continue to collaborate with the contractors to enable them to complete their work in due time. And when it is that is handed over to them, the issue of culture of maintenance is a problem in this country. Let all of us cooperate with the authority so that we can maintain this facility for the generation unborn to also benefit from it.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has held an award ceremony for staff of the authority who have distinguished themselves in the line of duty. In all, more than 100 working staff of the authority were recognized for their contribution to the growth of the authority. The award ceremony, which was held simultaneously at the Port of Takoradi and Port of Tema, was to appreciate the efforts of the staff in contributing to the success of the authority for the year 2018, 2019 and 2020. This included Best Worker Awards from each department of the authority, as well as overall awards for the Port of Tema, Port of Takoradi and the headquarters. The overall best workers for the year 2018 were Messinati Ben Egan, Frank Jabano, Sanusi Sulemana, Justice Sessa and John Doku. For the year 2019, the best workers included Vincent Abamna, Emmanuel Eshen, Imbe Apia, Priscilla Ajimandei, Francis Eshen, and Kwame Boateng. For the year 2020, the best workers included Joseph Ninoy, Rita Kujo, Labran Barry, George Coney, Frank Pra, and Anthony Quason. The director for the Port of Tema, Sandra Opoku, commended the workers for their immense contribution towards the authority and stressed that the award is a way of appreciating the workers.
I believe these awards will spur all of us on to continually give off our best as we work to improve the success of GPHA, the institution that we are all privileged to be working in. We also look forward to more years and more awards for our workers as we see them continually give off their best.
The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Luguje, assured staff of business continuity and urged them to continue to give up their best in the discharge of their duties.
We have worked over the years, and I've heard what the union executives, your leaders have said. Management has taken note, and indeed it's not the first time. It has been raised already. But I just want to assure all of us here that there is no cause for alarm at this time that we are talking. There's no cause for alarm. There's no cause for alarm. If at any point, if there is any reason to be concerned, management will certainly let you know. But for now, just focus on your job and trust that Ghana is with you for the rest of your future in GPHA.
At the port of Takoradi, the director of port, Captain Ebenezer Fedi, said the Russia-Ukraine war has had an impact on the port's performance.
Analysis of the first half of the year 2022 performance shows a decline in both import and export activities in the ports. And with the war, the cargo is not going. And as the cargo stays here in port of Takoradi, what does it mean? The revenue also stays with the people in Ukraine.
Ghana intends to rake in revenue of $25.3 billion from non-traditional exports by 2029. And as such, government since 2020 has developed the National Export Development Strategy, also known as NETS, as a blueprint to achieve this ambitious target. Simultaneously, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area has also been identified as a viable vehicle to drive the attainment of this 10-year objective. Due to this, the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority GPHA, the lead agency for the implementation of the National Export Development Strategy, has organized the one-day NETS AfCFTA conference in Accra. The workshop brought together key public and private sector actors that play significant roles in exports and the continental free trade in Ghana to analyze the strategic interventions necessary for the success of the Export Development Strategy. A Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Herbert Krapa, called for increased institutional collaboration towards the attainment of the NETS target.
I mean institutional collaboration in the truest sense of the phrase, which naturally starts with a recognition that parties being invited to the table truly have something to offer, and parties sitting around the table accepting in similar respectable fashion that they must give everything they can to make what we do a success. And that is my charge to all of us this morning.
He emphasized that the success of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area will hinge on effective and efficient export. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority, Ifua Sabia Sari, indicated that after the first year of the NETS implementation, $3.33 billion in revenue was made from non-traditional exports.
This represents a 17% growth over 2020 earnings of $2.84 billion, posing an increase in the annual growth rate of 7.07%. Despite this increase, a lot more effort will have to be exerted to ensure significant increases for the achievement of the target.
The head of strategic communications at the National Coordination Office of AfCFTA, Catherine Afeku, said her outfit is helping ready Ghanaian businesses for the free market.
The Ghana Trade Information Repository, that is in collaboration with GPHA. So we have a one-stop shop for people to have information on what to do, how to go about it, and where to go. The simple question everybody asks is, I have product, I want to send it from Ghana to Zambia. What do I do? And these are the things that we are at NCO helping the potential exporter to go through.
An Assistant Commissioner of Customs, Fetchin Akoto, revealed that currently 29 countries in Africa can trade among themselves under AfCFTA. At the plenary session of the stakeholder workshop, the various stakeholders enumerated a number of initiatives that will inure to Ghana's success under the Continental Free Trade Area. The Association of Ghana Industries was one of such institutions to make recommendations. The CEO of AGI called for the review of the cross-subsidy in Ghana's electricity tariff regime in order to bring relief to industries and help them compete. Likewise, he called for improvement in interest rates for borrowing.
When your tariff or your electricity bill comes, at residential level, part of it is subsidized by industry. This policy was there way back when industry was taking about 70% of the total electricity produced. Today, we have become so sophisticated. We have air conditioners in our homes, we sleep in it. So the residential usage has gone up to about 50% or more. And we are still asking industry to subsidize residential users, making us uncompetitive. If you have high tariff level, and electricity cost in Ghana is one of the highest, not just within West Africa, but within Africa and beyond. If electricity cost is that high, cost of capital is that high. Today, what is the policy rate? 19%. So you can't get interest rate below 25 to 30%. These are the conditions we are talking about.
He also shared his opinion on why Ghana's cocoa processing industry is struggling among other strategic sectors.
There's so much talk about cocoa processing, chocolate production, and interestingly, it's one of our key products we are targeting. Very good. And there are always questions around why are we not processing enough? We produce so much cocoa. But it will interest you to know that the chocolate we eat, when the chocolate is processed, the cost structure within the chocolate, cocoa as a raw material only constitutes 30%. There are several other things that goes into it. The milk, the sugar, the flavors, all of them, we don't produce them in this country. So, and the moment you add value, the duty on it in Europe goes up. So if you are questioning why we are not processing enough, these are some of the challenges.
Kwame Jantua, an AGI member, also called for the upscaling of Ghana's industrial salt production due to Ghana's competitive advantage in that commodity.
The export potential of industrial salt production is huge. So you look at countries that have excess snow during the winter, they use industrial salt to melt the snow on the streets. Can you imagine if we are producing industrial salt, the quantum of money we would make? And salt makes more money than oil and gas. Nigeria alone would take the entire salt production of Ghana. Right now, they import from Brazil, and they are next door to us.
The leading oil marketing company in Ghana, GOIL, has held a promotional activity at its Afenya toll booth service station to mark 2 years since the inception of the service station. Some patrons were presented with gifts for their continuous patronage of the service station since it was opened. The Tema zonal manager of GOIL, Rita Ado, reassured customers of GOIL of continued delivery of quality services and products and urged them to continue to keep faith with the GOIL brand.
We urge you to continue to serve your customers with the right fuels and lubricants and at the right quantity and quality. I also urge you to allow your customers to leave the station with a smile on their faces. Yes, that is the good energy that comes with a smile. To our esteemed customers, may you continue to patronize the station and other bus stations when you find yourself out of this jurisdiction.
A management member of the Afenya toll booth GOIL service station, Reverend Georgina Oludevi, said the quality of GOIL's products are unmatched and assured customers of high-level customer service.
There's no other station apart from GOIL that is number one. So when we talk about GOIL, then, and if you get yourself associated with it, then it means you're on top. Because going round, when it comes to the fuel, I mean the authenticity and their locations, they are well spread across the nation. That is why, that's the number one factor that made us get ourselves associated with GOIL.
The beneficiaries of the promotion expressed joy at the rewards from GOIL and encouraged the public to patronize GOIL products due to their efficacy.
All right, so those were some happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. It's now time for us to take the word of the day, and this week's word of the day is bill of lading. Bill of lading.
Bill of Lading. A bill of lading is a legally binding document issued by a carrier to a shipper that authorizes the carrier to transport goods on their behalf. It contains details about the shipment and serves as a receipt of freight transportation, a document of title to the goods shipped, and a contract of agreed terms and conditions for transportation.
All right, so it's time for us to go into our discussion proper tonight. And tonight, we're taking a look at the policy framework of the AfCFTA and the action plan. If you recall, the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in the course of last week, actually launched this particular document, that's the AfCFTA framework and action plan. And so what we are asking is, what next after this launch of the framework and action plan? What next for AfCFTA? What next for continental trading? What next for trade in the continent or on the continent of Africa? And so that's what we are discussing tonight. And I'll go straight and introduce my guest in the studios. He is Mr. Apia Kusiadumako. He's a West Africa Director for CATS International, Accra. West Africa Director, CATS International, Accra. We will also be joined by Mr. Emmanuel Donikwame via Zoom, and he is the Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce, Ghana. International Chamber of Commerce, Ghana. And so let me say welcome to you, Mr. Adumako. And your microphone is off, please.
Thank you very much, Kennedy.
Absolutely. Great. So we just want to find out from you whether you think that, first of all, did you happen to witness the launch of this particular framework by His Excellency the President in the course of the week?
Yes, I had opportunity to witness the launch and also to go through the policy framework that has been put together by the government and the team.
Right.
With regards to how Ghana is rolling out its implementation of the AfCFTA agreement.
All right, so what do you make of the event itself and this particular framework that has been rolled out?
I think the event was colorful, but I think the most important thing is to look at the substance, not the form.
Contained in the action plan?
Yes.
Or the framework, yeah.
Yes, and I think this is the first time I've seen Ghana coming closer to perfection in terms of translating a multilateral agreement in a way that becomes a workable document that brings all stakeholders together. So I think it's a very good document for a start. And I think Ghana is one of the countries that have taken the lead in terms of getting this policy framework.
Have you had a look, have you by chance perused some of the items in the framework and what we should be looking out for?
Yes, I've had the chance to go through the whole document cover to cover.
Wow.
And I think it's something that I would recommend anybody watching Eye on the Pot tonight to also have to have a look at the document to see what government wants to do. But this is something that government cannot be successful without the participation of the private sector, without the participation of all and sundry. So it's not just a government decision, but it also dwells on input and commitment from other stakeholders. And this, if you look at it is multi-sectorial and multi-ministerial. So you have the Ministry of Trade as an anchor ministry, Foreign Affairs, National Security, and Ministry of Finance. And these are, and even the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General Department. All these ministries are kind of working together to ensure that Ghana is able to maximize it best from the AfCFTA agreement. Because if you look at in the past, Ghana has signed lots of agreement, ECOWAS, even EPAS, Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union, but we didn't see anything of this sort. So I'm very happy about the effort that Ghana is doing, especially through the National AfCFTA Coordinating Office. Dr. Farid Atta. I think they have done a very good work. And let's also congratulate the minister, his deputies, and also the chief director for coming up with this document. Of course, the document is necessary but not sufficient. It gives us the vision that government wants to do, but beyond the vision, what are the things that we need to do? The resources and the commitment from stakeholders are also required to ensure that Ghana will be able to get the best out of this trade deal. And I would say that, as I said earlier, we've taken the lead among many African countries. And largely because the president, the AfCFTA is also a spare child. He managed to get Ghana to host the secretariat. And also doing a lot of work and through the 1D, 1F. And if you look at what happened in January 1st, Ghana did symbolic trading. That was last year. All these things shows that Ghana is actually on the lead. We've had opportunity to travel across most African countries, and you can see that on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say that Ghana is kind of leading. In Ghana, we say in a comfortable lead among in terms of what government is doing. Of course, there are other things that macroeconomic indicators, cost of borrowing, that
those are factors that are militating against
Ghana's private sector competitiveness.
But
what government is doing, I think we should laud government and its effort.
Right. You made mention of the fact that as Ghana, we are ahead of our compatriots in terms of running with AfTA and all that. But the ordinary man sitting out there who is very keen to reap the benefits of this whole agreement or arrangement doesn't have the opportunity yet to begin. We understand, like you rightly mentioned, that last year only 2 companies during the pilot phase were able to export from Ghana to other countries under AfTA. Now, how can we say that we are ahead of our compatriots when we don't have companies, exporting under AfTA?
I think knowledge is key, information is key. When you have knowledge and information, it helps you to make the right decision. And so the first thing is knowing that there is AfTA, knowing that there is opportunities for you as a private sector, knowing that your products are in demand in a particular market. And I think that is what has been done, that a lot of sensitization workshops are going on across the whole country. Government is doing that. Other donor agencies and development partners are also supporting the private sector to get informed about the AfCFTA agreement. But of course, we must understand that Rome was not built in a day. Rome was not built in a day. And it will take some time. But the frontliner businesses, the AGI members, the bigger ones, people are already, they have laced up their shoe and they are ready to fire with trading. And so they say that the rising tide does not lift all boats, especially for those who are stuck at the bottom. But as time goes on, I think that the steam will catch on everybody. And also, let me also say that not all traders and businesses have appetite in trading beyond the borders of Ghana. For some, they have constituted themselves, configured themselves to trade within the country. And so for them, they don't see AfCFTA as an opportunity for them. For them, they cannot even meet the local demand. So why should they go beyond the borders? I mean, if you go through the good book, Acts chapter 1:8, you start with Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, before you go to other parts of the world. So businesses want to start with local production before they want to talk about exporting into other markets.
Okay. I am told Mr. Emmanuel Donikwame is on the line. In fact, he's joining us via Zoom. He is the Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce, Ghana. Good evening, Mr. Donikwame, if you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, great. Good to see you.
Good evening to your viewers.
Good evening. Thank you very much for obliging us. Absolutely. So you are aware that the policy framework for AfTA and the action plan was launched by His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo last week. I would just want to find out from you what this means.
It means a lot. The framework and the plan is to boost our trade with the rest of Africa. And since we have the secretariat in Accra, we're supposed to provide leadership and commitment. And the whole AfCFTA is not an event. It's a whole journey.
Right.
And you can only start by developing an action plan, which we believe all stakeholders will be on board to help with its implementation. Yeah.
All right. So we're told that last year, in January, 2 Ghanaian companies, under the pilot of AfTA, were able to successfully export to other African countries under this whole arrangement agreement. Since then, we have not had any other company successfully able to ship outside of Ghana under AfTA. And so, what would you say this policy framework and action plan launched by the president would do to catapult, or to speed up trading under AfTA? Because obviously, the businessman that is out there doesn't see anything working as far as he's not able to export under AfTA.
It takes two to tango, and trade involves two parties. So we have the business community who may be engaged in trade long before AfTA. People were already exporting to the neighboring countries, be it Nigeria or Burkina Faso. AfTA, it's an improvement on what we had under ECOWAS. But with these policies, it takes time. First is the negotiation, and then in every state party then needs to do its homework in its within its own jurisdiction. That's how come they've now selected 7 countries to speed up the process. So Ghana will be engaging with 7 other countries, and we need to build the capacity of our companies that are already exporting within the sub-region to see how best the markets that have been targeted, they can more or less work, because those arrangements have already been done, just to test what's been discussed in the boardrooms, to make sure on the ground most of the policies are practicable or are workable. And for the 2 companies that kickstarted the implementation of AfCFTA, it was an eye-opener for us to understand the challenges involved in getting our goods across borders within Africa. We've always had it because we know the connectivity is an issue, and then we also have the normal trade barriers that has always been our problem.
All right, so outlined in the policy document that was launched by the president are interventions that are geared towards the harmonization of laws, programs and policies. Can you please tell us what this can do, or what it will propel us to?
These are laws which are not new, especially the one that has to do with trade facilitation. It's more or less similar to the WTO trade facilitation agreement. And what the framework and action plan looks at is how to incorporate the AfCFTA laws into our own laws, and also to harmonize the various policies and laws, so that at least they are in tune with what has been discussed at the policy level, at the AfCFTA level. And the document looks at the various components, not only trade policy, it also looks at trade facilitation, it also looks at trade information, it also touches on trade finance, which is key, and then also look at market integration. So it looks at the laws that affect these various components. I think there are about 7 components in there. Yeah, 7 components in there.
Now, I think that the private sector will not be able to, as it were, function effectively without close collaboration with the public sector. How can we draw the line to ensure that we empower the private sector to be able to seriously take advantage of this agreement?
It starts with sensitization, and I know ICC has been working with the National Coordination Office on disseminating information as far as the work of the AfCFTA Secretariat is concerned. We've been doing that for almost a year. The other issue has to do with, I think the ministry is also doing a lot. Government identified about 100 or 200 companies, which they believe their capacity can be built to access the markets they are already working with, and also to look at new markets, and also to improve on our product standards also come in, and then also to look at new products. We may have some new products that we've not really thought of exporting, but maybe in big demand or serious demand on the continent. And the policy document has a couple of interventions. There's one ICC is currently working with the ministry on, that's the SPS, Subcontracting Partnership Exchange, where we build a capacity of SMEs so that they can match or provide the necessary raw material or support for the bigger companies. So it starts with benchmarking, and then there's after you benchmark to know your capacity, then we try to match you with a potential bigger firm that may be in need of your product or your services. Then we also have the 1G, 1F, which it needs to be looked at, and then all the necessary support will be given to them. And I believe it's also not limited, and the policy also looks at decentralization, making sure that the assemblies are involved, so that most factories or companies are located quite close to the necessary raw material. For us at ICC, we also want to think African, not just Ghana, and then you look at Togo on itself. We believe in cross-border investments. If Ghanaians, Nigerians can come together to work on projects of that nature, have joint investment, joint ventures to set up factories so that they can also use their knowledge of their own market, be it Nigeria, Togo, or Burkina Faso, to develop products that can have the potential of building up the demand on the continent. So there's the need for that kind of cross-border investments and more partnerships between businessmen within the continent.
All right, I'll come back to you. I'll come to the studios now, but when I come back to you, I want to find out from you what the ICC Ghana's assessment is in terms of how soon we expect that we zoom into action with the AfTA arrangement, having launched the action plan and the policy framework. But let me come to Mr. Adomako and find out from you how the AfTA national policy can settle in or align, in terms of competition laws between Ghana, Africa, and then ECOWAS.
Okay, so the policy that came out last week is a broad policy framework. And so I think because AfCFTA is yet to finalize its competition protocol, and government is also about to finalize our competition policy and the law, a lot of work was not focused on the policy with regards to our competition laws in this, but I'm very much informed that the Ministry of Trade is working on the competition policy and hopefully before the end of the year to go to Parliament, because one of the key requirements for our phase 2 phase 2 trading.
Right.
Yes, and I think the process of getting this competition law started more than 30 years ago, but I'm happy that the level of effort that the chief director and the minister has taken, I think it's very, very recommendable in that. And I also know that once we are able to get it in Ghana, it will also create the level playing field for business that are operating here, and also other business that are also bringing their goods here, because sometimes a product, imported product, may get some subsidies from its government, and they want to come and sell the product lower in Ghana, and that could also affect the local manufacturers to the extent that they are unable to compete. And so the competition law looks at the issue of government subsidies and state aid. And all these things are also being taken care of under the phase 2 protocols.
Okay. All right. So tell us the difference between phases 1 and 2.
Okay. So the AfCFTA, the agreement that led to the establishment of AfCFTA was the phase 1 negotiation. So the phase 1 negotiation had the broad agreement, and also we have protocols on trade in goods, and also protocols on trade in services. And then when you come back to the protocol on trade in goods, we have annexes, about 9 annexes. One of them is on rules of origin, SPSS, and cooperation of customs, and all the other things on the trade in goods. Now, the whole thing was that once the agreement comes into operationalization, we'll go into the phase 2. So currently, member states have started the phase 2 negotiations, and these are in the areas of competition policy, investment policy, and also intellectual property policy. And all these things are going on. I'm even told that they are also adding e-commerce, because e-commerce is also very, very key. And hopefully by end of next year, the phase 2 negotiation will be completed, and then member states will have to ratify those protocols.
All right, so tell us, have you heard about the Board of Dispute Resolution as captured in the framework? Tell us about it.
Okay, so this is a multilateral trading agreement. And so it is possible that a Ghanaian business doing trading in other countries may receive some form of unfair treatment against its products. Maybe, last 2 years, for example, our big brothers at the eastern side shut their borders and they didn't want goods to enter. And all those things contravenes the spirit of the agreement. And so when something like this happens on trade between exporter or importer against a state party country, what you need to do, the first point of call is what? You first report it to the Ministry of Trade. Once you report it to the Ministry of Trade will escalate the process, because there is an adjudication committee. And this is one of the innovations we have under AfCFTA. When you look at the ECOWAS and other trade agreement that we have, there wasn't anything like dispute resolution. So it becomes like the elephant will always beat the donkey. The big will beat the smaller ones. So now this dispute resolution mechanism has a way of addressing trade disputes between nations and between businesses and nations, or between businesses. If you look at the WTO, we have dispute resolution. Some years ago, there was disagreement between the European Union, the Airbus, and Boeing, to the extent that the WTO has to rule that subsidies given by European Union was anti-competitive. And so if a country, like let's use for example the cement industry, now we have local cement companies here. So let's say let me use hypothetical, let's mention Dangote, which comes from Nigeria. If Dangote receives a lot of government subsidies from Nigerian government, making Dangote to be able to produce cement cheaper. Once they produce it cheaper, they're able to bring to Ghana because the product is from West Africa under the AfCFTA, so there are no taxes on them. Once the cement comes into the market, they're able to sell it cheaper than the local manufacturers. And these are issues. And so the cement manufacturers and producers in Ghana would have to report. But even currently, before the AfCFTA, we have the Ghana International Trade Commission, GITC.
Yes.
GITC law,
headed by Mr. Frank
Jokum. The GITC law mandates GITC to look at all these trade issues, and then where it is found out that the importing countries or the exporting country gets some subsidies, then you can put some countervailing taxes on them so that they will not come and kill your industries. And that is, so there's a whole lot of dispute. It's a body, it's a judicial body, and once you go and you are not satisfied, you can also escalate it.
All right. Okay, let me go back to Mr. Donny Kwame and find out from him. I want to find out from him. You are with the International Chamber of Commerce, Ghana, and I want to find out from you how you deal with disputes when they arise, when businesses don't agree.
We always will recommend mediation and arbitration. And we were privileged to have the Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat joining us in Lagos for the ICC Africa Arbitration Conference.
When was that, or when is that?
That was in June this year.
Okay.
Yeah. And we've realized that there's the need to build capacity. So we've been organizing the training workshops for arbitrators and then mediation experts on the continent. And we've been doing that both locally and at the national level, and even at the continental level, rather. And currently we're working on a program to bring on board experts from Gambia, Sierra Leone, and then and Liberia, since they are all Anglophone. So that's the kind of support ICC wants to bring on board. And we also want to help the AfCFTA Secretariat with our years of experience in international commercial arbitration in the drafting or in drafting of any policy document that has to do with dispute resolution on the continent.
So you mean that this particular, one that is captured in the AfCFTA policy is apt and in the right place? That's the Board of Dispute Resolution as captured in the framework that was launched by the President.
The AfCFTA document looks at state parties. And what we are mostly engaged in has to do with private businesses, either businesses and state, because whether we like it or not, the state is also a bigger client to the business community. When it comes to energy contracts, road contracts, definitely the private sector will bid for a job to execute, but the main client was definitely going to be the state. So yes, such capital intensive projects, usually you should make room for dispute resolution. And as far as the AfCFTA is concerned, infrastructure is a huge bit of it when it comes to connectivity. We need more energy on the continent for industrialization. We need connectivity as far as transport, the various modes of transport is concerned, being rail, airline, and all these calls for investment from the private sector. So with such transactions, you should make room for disputes here.
Right. So you just mentioned infrastructure, and Mr. Adumaku did make mention of the fact that Ghana is way ahead of its compatriots in terms of preparedness to take off when AfCFTA eventually is implemented fully. Do you agree?
Exactly. Ghana, it's ahead, but the rest of Africa always looks up to Ghana for leadership commitment. For AfCFTA to work, everybody looks up to Ghana. So I expect most countries to adopt our document and maybe amend it to fit their context. If we don't develop a document, everybody will just sit and then look at us. So the framework and then the action plan, it's the way to go. It has clear-cut objectives, key performance indicators, timelines, and then the responsible agencies that are expected to see to its implementation. So it's quite clear. So I think it should be the benchmark for other countries to use in developing their own action plans. Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned infrastructure. I just want to find out whether the ICC or yourself has done any assessment of what the infrastructure situation is in the various member countries. And Ghana, we know, is hosting the Secretariat, yes, and everybody's proud of it. What is our situation also in terms of infrastructure towards the implementation of AfTA?
The infrastructure gap is quite huge, and we've developed our ports, but we need a lot of investment. In the document, it's clear. The figures are in the document as to the number of aircrafts, if we want to encourage air transport to move goods, the number of railway wagons to carry cargo. That one is about 100,000. We need about 250 aircraft for it to work, and even vessels to carry goods to connect our various ports. The research has been done, so the figures are well known. It's now up to us, the business community, to find a way of coming together, and then we develop our financial system such that we're able to provide the necessary finance for the business operators who want to actually trade on the continent. It's more of the private sector getting to know of these opportunities, because every challenge is an opportunity. If this document is out there and you're a businessman, you get to know that there is this gap of about the need for 250 aircrafts. Yeah, you may be thinking of starting your own cargo flights or getting an aircraft to start cargo.
Yeah.
If the government is able to build the railway tracks and the private sector is encouraged to own the carriages, the wagons, why not to carry goods from the farm gates to the ports, or to the factory gates? That's another way of getting people to invest in those sectors. There is even cargo trucks. We still need millions of them if the AfCFTA is to work. And then those in road construction. So there is a lot of business opportunity for the private sector as far as the development of the necessary infrastructure is concerned. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. You are not leaving us yet. You still stay with us. That's Mr. Emmanuel Donikwame, who is the Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce, Ghana. Also in the studios with me, Mr. Apia Kusi Adumaku, who is the Director, West Africa Regional Director, CATS International, Accra. And tonight we're asking the question, what next after the AfTA Policy Framework launch? It was launched alongside the action plan by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo last week. And so tonight we're examining what's in there and what it pertains or what it portends for the smooth implementation of AfTA in our country and on the continent. We're going for a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue the discussion. Please do stay with us.
Every now and again, GOIL makes good things happen. This time, GOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GOIL has that sorted. GOIL, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. style, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse. And my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the project, and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
Mps Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
All right, so you're welcome back. And now we're going into the mailbox to bring your messages to the rest of the world, that's the viewers and listeners. And indeed, I am still in the studios with Mr. Apia Kusi Adumaku, who is the West Africa Regional Director for CATS International Accra, and also still online, and that's via Zoom, is Mr. Emmanuel Donikwami, who is the Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce, Ghana. They are those we're having a discussion with this week, and indeed, tonight we are discussing what next after the launch of the AfCFTA Policy Framework and Action Plan by His Excellency last week. So let me come to you and find out whether as a country, in the scheme of things, as far as this whole AfCFTA arrangement is concerned, we have identified some businesses that are ready, that should the implementation begin today, that should trading begin today, that they should trade, they are ready and willing.
Yes, so I would say that we've been informed by the Ministry of Trade that government started mapping out firms and establishments that have capacity to produce goods that will be in demand in other member states, other state parties. And these companies will be supported by government in terms of making them productive and efficient in their production line, so that once trading begins, Ghana will be able to export more to other African countries, because we do not want to become Brussels of Africa. What do I mean by Brussels of Africa? You know, Brussels is the headquarters of the European Union, and people only go to Brussels for meetings. And at the end of the day, they come back. So Ghana, people be coming here to AfCFTA for meetings, and then we'll be hosting them, but then there's nothing like what exporting goods out from our borderline.
Right.
And so if you do that, if you are not able to export goods, people will bring goods into your market. They are coming to compete with your industries. And then they will take jobs away, and then your currency will also go down, because you are using hard currencies to import goods into your country. And so government has, I mean, I'm so happy. This is the first time I'm seeing how things are being done in a more like a coordinated fashion to ensure that Ghana becomes a winner under the AfCFTA agreement.
All right, another factor that many complain about in terms of competitiveness, as far as this whole AfTA thing is concerned, is the cost of borrowing in our country or in our part of the world.
Yes, it's very, very true. Cost of borrowing can also make Ghanaian exports into other countries very uncompetitive. For example, a firm in Morocco or Tunisia is borrowing at 4%, and you are borrowing at 30%. So granted that the two firms are supposed to manufacture mineral water, the one who is borrowing at 5% will be able to produce at cheaper rate than you who is borrowing at 30%.
Right.
So that cost of borrowing, of course, we cannot resolve cost of borrowing overnight. It requires a sustained economic effort by government and also the private sector. I mean, we know that with the Ghana card coming in as the only and the legit authorized forms of identification, the non-performing loans among financial institutions would gradually go down, because nowadays, if you take a loan and you are not able to pay, I think you will be blacklisted. And so you will not, I mean, if you go to Europe and America, for example, if you take a loan and you don't pay, nobody will come and seize your car.
Right.
Your credit record will go black.
Published, yeah.
And nobody will lend you again. And the system survives on what? Credit.
Right.
And so gradually with the Ghana card coming, I'm very sure that, but I want to see how the banks are able to take advantage of the Ghana card and to be able to bring the cost of borrowing down. Of course, cost of borrowing is also has to do with what inflation. And we've seen how the economy has been battered by the raging storms of inflation. And the city is also not doing well. Over the weekend, we heard one of the worst news was that the S&P, Standard & Poor's, also downgraded the economy to CC+, which is also an indictment on the economy as of now. And so we need, whilst government is trying to lead us on the battlefront of the AfCFTA, government through the Ministry of Finance, now this one is Ministry of Trade is doing its work well, but the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana needs to also be armed of the right policy interventions to be able to get Ghana out of this quagmire. Because if this situation is to persist for the next 4 months, I think that, I mean, we might get to the cliff of the mountain, and once we fall down, we will not be able to recover.
Right. Okay, so let me go to Mr. Donikwame, who is still joined us, who is still with us via Zoom, and find out from you whether your members of the ICC Ghana are standing in readiness to seize the moment when trading begins and after.
Trading has begun. I don't think we're waiting for trading to start. We just have to create more platforms for people to engage. And as my colleague just mentioned, access to finance is key, and then access to markets. Currently, ICC has created 4 centers of entrepreneurship, which we intend using as one platform to link up with people who want to trade amongst themselves. We have a center of entrepreneurship in Lagos. We have one in Casablanca, one in Nairobi, and one in Accra. So these are some of the avenues by which people can access information on the various markets, and also find a way of getting to know potential partners that they can work on projects with, or potential partners within those markets they can export to. So that's the first step. But with PAPS, the Pan-African Payment System in place, we believe trade with our own currency will be easier, because that was the biggest challenge, trying to work in dollars on the continent, and then with the depreciation of your currency, it makes it far more difficult. With the Francophones, DS is a bit stable as far as the CFA is concerned. But once we have the Pan-African payment system in place for businesses before any bank will give you any credit. At least they need to see your projections as to how you definitely going to pay back the loan or credit. So the exchange rate was always a problem, but with the Pan-African payment system, there might be some stability in that regard. Access to capital is another one. As far as the document is concerned, I think it's captured in there that government will provide an enabling environment for those within the financial sector to support those who want to export under AfCFTA. There's a lot that needs to be done in that department. Such interventions need to be looked at, and then the necessary support is given to those who have the capacity to support under AfCFTA.
All right. I'll stay with you, Mr. Donikwame, but let me announce that the phone lines have been activated, and the number to dial is 02055283353, 02055283353. You can call in and contribute to the discussion. But let me stay with you. What do you mean when you say trading house started? Because we are told, like I mentioned earlier in my submission, my question to you, that in January last year, only 2 companies were able to, ship out of Ghana under AfTA. And so what do you mean when you say trading has begun? And I also said that the ordinary man out there who's into business is not able to, ship outside under AfTA at the moment. And so to him, nothing is happening.
But 2 were able to ship. Once the numbers, you don't expect the numbers to grow all of a sudden. It's not an event. It takes time. These are companies that were already exporting to those countries under different protocols. And now they have to export under AfTA. So if it's a country within ECOWAS, then previous engagements were under the ECOWAS protocols. So you already have your market, your partner in the neighboring country that you export to. And now you want to move from ECOWAS to AfCFTA, duty-free, quota-free. The level of readiness it varies in every country. So we may be ready. You export to Guinea or Senegal or any other place. Your goods may get in there, and the customs officer over there may not be up to date with the development of the necessary documentation as far as AfTA is concerned. So it takes time. These challenges, we should expect it. That's how come now they want to fast track by looking at a few countries that they believe are up to speed with implementation, so that those 7 countries can start trading. And then we see the volumes grow gradually. Then the others may then as we make those 7 countries make their mistakes, the others may learn, and then we correct those mistakes.
Because there's this example of some Ghanaian exporters who sent their goods to South Africa only to get there for the South African authorities to tell them that they don't even know about the agreement, the AfTA. When their own son, a young man, energetic, Wankele Mene, is the Secretary General.
Exactly. The sensitization is very important. We need, as far as the document is concerned, there's a whole column on the communication strategy. That's for the national office. But as the host of the secretariat, we also need to support the secretariat in getting word out on the continent through any channel possible. Luckily for us, ICC is part of a global body with presence on the continent. So we may also capitalize on using a continental network to disseminate information as far as whatever happens in Accra for them to get to know what's going on as far as the AfCFTA is concerned.
All right. Okay, so let me go into the mailbox. And this one says, I am Isaac from Takwa. Please ask the ICC man if the private sector in Ghana have the production capacity to be able to meet the market outside Ghana. Mr. Donikwame, that's to you.
Yeah, that's why I will call for cross-border investments, because research has shown that there is similarities in what we all produce, especially the countries along West Africa. So exporting to each other, trading amongst us will basically be looking at those that are a bit industrialized. Those days, Ghana was far more industrialized than our neighbors. So manufactured goods, the bulk of the manufactured goods were coming from Ghana, you know. But if the main raw material can be located in another country within the sub-region, and you have the scale and the necessary capacity to produce, nothing stops you from accessing that raw material by having partnerships with colleagues on the continent to develop your product and then make sure you have enough raw material to meet the demands of the market. And not to be looking at I'm Ghana, I'm competing with my colleague in Guinea or in Senegal.
I'll be coming to Mr. Adumako to ask him when effectively you think that we can zoom into action and begin trading now that the, what do we call it, the policy framework and action plan has been launched by the president. We're waiting for implementation, and that's going to chart the way, the path for effective trading to begin. Tell us when, if you sit back and look at the scheme of things and how things are panning out at the moment, how soon do you think that we can get?
I think one of the greatest hurdle that we've been AfCFTA member states have been able to make is the agreement on the rules of origin. The rules of origin determines nationalities of products that are coming in. And because not all products may necessarily originate from African soil, it is possible that a company may import raw materials from a foreign country and then process those raw materials and want to export to other countries. Some may also buy the product and decide to do packaging. And to be able to ensure that goods that are traded benefit under the agreement, the key thing that needed to be done was the rules of origin. And so as of now, substantial progress has been made on it. And so I'm very hopeful that with all the patchwork that needs to be done, we should be looking somewhere early Q1 next year.
Q1 2023.
Yes, because like we've made progress on the PAPS, that the Pan-African Payment System, as my colleague just mentioned. And a lot of work are also going behind the scene. And so when all those things are completed, I think that trading will be in a full scale. But we must also know that if you are a Ghanaian exporter, you don't need to wait for AfCFTA to start. Because we have the ECOWAS and other existing WTO trading agreement that you can still take advantage of. And so you can still take advantage of the existing trade agreement to be able to import or export your goods.
All right. Okay. So, Mr. Donikwame, Mr. Adumako has made a point, and by his assessment, he believes that in the first quarter of 2023, we should be able to have trading, effectively ongoing. Do you agree? From where you are sitting?
I agree. COVID and then the economic challenges and the security situation on the continent has delayed the implementation of the AfCFTA. I believe we would have achieved a lot if COVID had not interrupted the situation. And then coming out of COVID, we've ended up with some political issues in most of the countries. Sanctions were imposed. I guess most of the sanctions have been lifted. So it's actually slowed down trading even within ECOWAS. Because if you look at the situation pre-even AfCFTA, there was a lot of movement of goods and people. Then COVID and then the lockdowns. Then right after the lockdowns, there were all the political issues in the various countries. We were just praying that it's an economic community of West African states, not, and we've spent the bulk of our resources dealing with the political issues and security issues. We still want to, as trade experts, we still want trade to be the issues to be discussed. So we'll still push, and I believe now borders have been opened, the sanctions on these countries have been lifted, and then those who are already trading with Mali, Burkina, and the others will step up their game. And then we look at moving from West Africa to East Africa and then North Africa. And then at least we need leaders, first movers advantage for those who move into new territories. Once they come back and tell us of their experience and others get to know a lot, others will also follow the bandwagon and then moving.
Just briefly, Mr. Adumaku mentioned the rules of origin. I just want to find out from you, how many do we have, or how many are we expecting, and how many have we worked on at the moment? If you have any knowledge of that.
We didn't know, but I know a lot of work has been done in that department, and the biggest issue has to do with people abusing the system and then using transshipment as products manufactured in countries within countries or state parties that are partners or have signed on to the agreement, and that's what we need to.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Donny Kwame. Well, I think we've lost him. That's what happens sometimes when you are using technology, or you rely on technology, which is a necessary, evil. Okay, I understand he's back. Yes, I can hear you now, Mr. Donny Kwame.
Yeah. We frown on the abuse of the issues that are related to rules of origin. So that we guard against goods that are transshipped through countries and labeled as made in a particular country or a member of the zone. So it's up to the various authorities within the various countries to guard against people abusing the system, using transshipped products as goods manufactured in their entities or within their jurisdiction.
Very well. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Emmanuel Donny Kwame. He is the Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce, Ghana. He joined us this evening to discuss what next after the policy framework and action plan launch by President Akufo-Addo last week. We are grateful to you, Mr. Donny Kwame, once again for obliging us. As and when we need you, we know you are always there to support and help us. We are grateful to you, sir. Now, let me come to you, Mr. Adumaku, in the studio and find out. So now that this thing has been launched by the president, we're looking, like you said, looking forward to implementing it. And once we implement, we're looking forward to trading to begin in 2023, like you said, first quarter. And so, and you also indicated that we have identified some businesses that are standing by, to roll out and for this thing to take place. And so, all in all, you think that Ghana is fully prepared, as it were, to take advantage of after once the doors are open, the green light is given, that we can move.
I think when you mention fully you are referring to 100%. There's still some work that needs to be done.
Right.
And for a private sector to be able to trade, they also need to have their own management structure in such a way that they can't be able to function operationally. We did a study last year assessing the framework conditions that are needed to allow SMEs to take advantage of the AfCFTA. And one of the key things that we found in that study was that most of the SMEs do not have a very robust management systems. They don't even have quality certification. They don't even have export licenses, and they don't even have funds to be able to export, because when you are exporting products, you should have a credit to be able to give to the importer from the other side. Say that maybe it is 90 days or 60 days or 30-day credit. You should have resources, but most of SMEs do not have. Of course, the bigger ones do have. Those in Tema free zones, and some of them have, but the local indigenous SMEs do not have those kind of structures and the support. So the national level is ready, but the firm level. So I think at this time it will be very helpful to decouple the state level of readiness from the individual firm level of readiness. And I would say that a lot of work needs to go at the firm level where the firm itself can take advantage. It's like we have the Accra Sports Stadium. It's available for anybody to go and play there. But if you're a football team and you have not prepared and trained and you go and play, you might lose. And so the individual firms also need to sit up and do a quick, audit of themselves, your ability, your competitiveness. For example, if you are producing goods at high, your cost of production is high, or you have not invested in research and development or modern equipment, you must know that once you export your product, it will be expensive. And Ghanaians, when they are buying products, they prefer to buy good products at cheaper price. And so the firm level readiness is also very key as a country, and which I think that we should be dwelling. Most of the time, we always want to blame government, but we don't want to talk about ourselves. But now I will say that the firms need to also sit up and ensure that they are fully ready for the battle ahead of them.
All right, so let me say thank you to you, Mr. Pierre Kusi-Adumako, West Africa Regional Director, CATS International Accra, for joining us in the studios tonight. We're grateful to you, viewers, for staying tuned and watching. Remember, the show is brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, and indeed Meridian Port Services, MPS, and powered proudly by the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, GPHA. God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of the show. But remember, the abridged version is aired every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television. My name is Kennedy Mona. Have a super week ahead of you.